Hello and welcome. I'm Lisa Post, Mayor of the Town of Orangeville, and I'm honored to be your host for Spotlight Features Changemakers. Before we begin, I'd like to acknowledge that Orangeville is located on the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and Wendat peoples. We recognize the enduring presence of Indigenous peoples on this land and are committed to reconciliation, respect, and meaningful relationships. Across Canada, people are stepping up, building homes, feeding neighbors, standing up for justice, and raising their voices for change. Today, we're sharing 5 powerful stories that reflect the heart of what it means to care for your community. As a 4th-generation Orangevillian, I know how strong our town is when we come together. Today's stories will inspire you, challenge you, and remind you that every action, no matter how small, can make a difference. We begin with a story that demands our attention and our action. Indigenous women make up 16% of all female homicide victims and 11% of missing women in Canada, yet Indigenous people represent only 4.3% of the population. These numbers reflect a crisis that continues to devastate families and communities. Nina Toulouse is a powerful voice in the missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls movement. She travels the country, educating everyone from corporate leaders to children in First Nation communities. This is her story.
It's something that needs to be talked about. It's not just a surface level, feeling or thing. It's something that's been happening for centuries. Because you're labeled or they see you as being vulnerable, it's like you're an easy target. And when you talk about systemic racism and discrimination, it also plays into dehumanization and stereotypes. That issue, it's not just a day, it's something that has to be talked about every single day because there's women that go missing, there's women who have been murdered. And the importance of that red dress is the color red, it's a power color. So those ones who've gone missing can, find their way back. As a loved one of missing American Indigenous women, but my mother was one, so I can easily be able to, connect with those ones and their feelings. She lived on the streets for the last few years of her life. It led her to addiction. She passed March 20th of 2020, which was just the beginning of COVID-19. And her life was taken, and it was over something very small. When you lose a loved one and you don't get answers on how they, passed away, there's no closure in that. She advocated for Indigenous women, all the teachings that she shared with me. And, I'm very, very grateful that she was my mom. Pocahontas, that was the very first story of missing Indigenous women. That's the very first one. She was taken. Yeah, she was taken from her village. That was the real story of that. It was based on a real story, that movie. When I go into the schools, I always have an open art. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel. Why not share with them that they are the light? They have their own light to guide them through whatever they're going through. So it's our job to make sure where that handprint came from, and that red handprint with blood, trying to cover our mouths and not, talk about it, right? For them wanting to, understand Red Dress Day and the importance of you know, of even where the red dress came from. When you can reach that one kid, it's just like a beautiful thing for them to have that wonderment. You want to walk with me? Okay. I'll hand over my drum and like let them sing, because we want to empower our youth. We want to empower our children to know that they have a voice too.
The red dress honors the memories of the missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. It is dedicated to honoring the memory of these women. It is believed that when the color red is worn, it calls the spirits of these women to return home. They matter, she matters.
And then I proposed my idea for a red dress special. Without question, everyone on the POW committee accepted it. I was thinking about all those women and all those girls and all those families and all those names that were highlighted, and some of those cases and those stories. I was thinking about all of them, especially thinking about my mom at the time.
All the pain, all the blood.
It's just like a feeling I get when I dance, like I know that she is there.
What's up?
What do you do after building nearly 100 homes? If you're Marcel Lebrun, you build more. In Fredericton, New Brunswick, Marcel left a successful high-tech career to create something truly transformative, a village of tiny homes for people who had almost nothing. The 12 Neighbors community is small in size, but massive in impact. And as we'll see, it's growing, both at home and beyond.
And I was looking at my community. Homelessness was doubling in very short order. And all of our charitable investments were simply meeting the flywheel of needs, urgent crisis need management, but not actually changing our city. And I wanted to look at how can we make a difference. And then, came up with this concept, which includes housing, supportive housing, tiny homes, and but also social infrastructure that helps people overcome barriers, access opportunities. Every person that's living outside has physical injuries, lots of health challenges to overcome, and those become barriers.
I got the call that I got the tiny homes. It's been a change of life. I was here for about a year before I actually started getting things in order as far as my life and my sobriety. And when I got about 4 months in on clean time, they offered me a job down at the 12 Neighbors warehouse. And I've been doing that and I love it. And now I'm at 8 months clean. Now I feel more stable than I have in so many years. All my life there was so much instability for many reasons.
What we wanted to do is come up with a housing strategy to put the fire out that's very fast to deploy, very low cost, and that's what we're doing with Neighborly Homes. We can take someone out of the woods into a nice, warm, safe place for like $7,500. We can build it in a day, and it's not permanent, it's transitional, but then it at least allows us to reorient our resources towards development and not emergency relief.
Project Zero, and it is marvelous because like some people would think that they're too small, but you look at that and that is a mansion to some of us. Those, even the tiny pods. It's amazing because it's safe, it's warm, it's got heat, it's got power, and a safe environment for people to be.
They're going to go to St. John. We're setting up 2 sites, 54 units in total. We're going to open the first one August 1st.
To have somebody that sees you, especially after being homeless, you're invisible. Being here at the 12 Neighbors, they have an entrepreneur program, bring out our creativity, and they've given us a place here in the store as well to work on them. This is one of my favorites as well. Marcel is a godsend. For him to come up with this idea and to implement it, it's not easy to bulldoze a bunch of trees down, prop up a bunch of houses, build them, bring them in.
You're dealing with, sometimes crisis level challenges every day. Then you get these little breakthroughs, and somebody punches through and starts to really heal and develop, and that is what makes it all worthwhile. It's about seeing transformation. It's about Amelia and Susan and Al and Mark and like specific people who I know 3 years ago were struggling in a tent, and layers and layers of challenges.
It's kind of like an eagle's wing that kind of brings you in, and makes you feel like you're welcome and at home and that you're wanted and needed. And his goal is not to kick people out. His goal is to see what do they need, because if they're in crisis, he wants to help us.
And then to see them, stable and improving and working and feeling good about themselves. That's, to me, what charges my batteries every day.
I can do it with dignity and integrity and be here, and just, I have goosebumps because it's such a blessing, it really is.
Food is a basic need, but for many, it's not a guarantee. In Squamish, British Columbia, Vanita Fung is working to change that. As Director of Community Food Services at Squamish Helping Hands, Vanita combines her love of cooking with a deep commitment to food security. Her work ensures that people facing adversity have access to nourishment, dignity, and support. Let's meet Vanita and see how one kitchen can feed a whole community.
Being in the kitchen has always been part of my joy, but being in the social service arena has really changed since I've started working here. My name is Vanita Fung. I'm the Director of Community Food at Squamish Helping Hands. When I started working here, it was during COVID. It was kind of a funny time for everybody. And as I got to work here more and more, that is where my values around food have changed and about providing food have changed. We serve about, I want to say average 60 for lunch, 60 for dinner, so it can be, but it can go anywhere, it can fluctuate anywhere between like 50 and 70 people, like 70 people on a pizza or a hot dog day. Finish my carrots later. I always bring it back to how I feel that people view food, and it's like when a lot of people say, if your mom was a good cook or your parents were a good cook, or if you had the fortunate experience to have that in your life, oftentimes the food presented to you or the food that you're eating from home is always the best. It's not necessarily because your parents or whoever's making it is like the most amazing cook. It's because of the love that goes into the food. It's because the person that's making it for you wants you to feel nourished and cares for you and wants you to be well. It sounds like kind of cheesy, but it's true. Like, love is the first ingredient in food, and you can taste it. And so when I first started working here and we would have these meal services, it actually dawned on me that a lot of people did not have that experience growing up. Maybe that they hadn't even had a meal cooked for them in that way before. So then when they were eating this food that myself and the team make, and there's like care and quality that goes into it, regardless of if it's rescued food, I feel like that gets passed on. So like these flatbreads will be 100% rescue. Food security affects everybody, I would say. Like, food security is on a spectrum, so it's is affected by your ability to support your dietary choices. You can be highly food secure to highly food insecure and everything in between, and just being a little bit more compassionate in regards to the people that are accessing services and going through hardships, that we may not always understand where they're coming from or what is happening in their life, and to be open and a little bit more understanding to their unique experience.
But everything is like fresh.
That's great. Okay, that's fine.
Wonderful.
Don't forget, we can freeze things. So utilize the freezer. Yeah, do the things that will freeze well. I would do like buns and bagels. We can see it over time. Like there's no hard studies being done on, you know, what we're doing here. But over the years, now having been here for 5 years, we can see the small changes in people, and we like to think that the food that we make has an impact and has contributed to their well-being.
Not all heroes wear capes. Some carry signs and stand on street corners. Nancy Urikar may not be a household name, but on the streets of Broadway, she's a familiar force. From concerned mother to co-founder of Climate Change Action, Dufferin-Caledon, Nancy's journey is a powerful reminder that grassroots activism can spark real change. Join us as we walk alongside Nancy through protests, policy battles, and personal sacrifice to see how one voice can echo through a community.
Small children, and I was feeding them apple juice. In that apple juice was a chemical called alar, and it was, it was really a bad chemical for humans, and it wasn't regulated, and I felt so sick about it. I thought I was doing something good for my kids, and here I am feeding them poison, and it changed me, and my whole way I thought about food and the earth. It really was the beginning of a journey.
Shine. It's May 4th. 2019, and our group called Climate Change Action Dufferin-Caledon has decided to do an audit of some of the trash. Yeah.
I headed up a group called Climate Change Action Dufferin-Caledon, and we did a lot of environmental movies, which gathered a group of people that were interested in doing something. And mostly we talked a lot. I don't know how much we did, but at least we had other people who cared, and had that in common, and that was great.
To have a feeling for what kind of trash was out there and what companies, to some extent. And then this is all the garbage collected.
I just started to understand about food and regenerative agriculture and how important this is to our health, and it really matters. Living here is my thing right now. It's living with a smaller footprint, modeling a way of life that's really a good life. I now have 3 granddaughters, and this is for them too. I've always thought it's for the future generations, but I didn't even think about my own grandchildren. It's like the generations to come. What kind of life are they going to have? My family thinks, and I think they think it's pretty cool, and I hope that my grandchildren will really see that I didn't just say, I didn't do anything. I knew it was coming and I didn't do anything. I can't live like that. I have to say, I did what I could to make your life in this world better. I just care. I care. It's not all about me. It's about everybody, humanity, and it's about this fabulous planet. And I'm not really religious, but I am in a way, that this is so special. And we're wrecking it. We're wrecking the place. So that's my driving force. I really want to see us preserve this planet and humanity too.
We close our program with a group that proves that activism has no age limit and plenty of rhythm. The Raging Grannies began in Victoria, BC in the 1980s, and today their message rings out across North America. In Winnipeg, we meet a gaggle of grannies using song, satire, and spirit to stand up for peace, justice, and equality. Get ready to smile, sing along, and be inspired by the power of joyful resistance.
I started having grandchildren in the year 2000, and just what are we leaving for them, you know?
Oh, we're the raging grannies, and we're here to say today, we fight for social justice in our singing, it's our way.
I wound up thinking very hard about if I'm going to try and live true to my principles, maybe the Raging Grannies is exactly what I need to be doing.
The government has got to act, and that is just a fact.
In my 40s, I saw Raging Grannies sing, and I thought, when I'm old enough, I'm going to join. And then years later said, at last I can be part of it.
And so we'll sing our songs and hope that you will hear. The time to act is now and not next year.
We're a bunch of women of a certain age who care deeply about the political and social justice issues around us.
And this is what she said to me.
We discovered that it really helps to get together and do goofy things so that when we show up at marches or protests or politicians' offices, we have some songs to sing, we have some props to show off, and we have fun while we make a point.
March for peace and social justice. Work for peace and social justice. Make the world a better place.
Well, we take on very many issues, but they're all centered really around human rights.
We always take existing songs that people are familiar with and add our own words to them, making our own points.
Leave it in the ground. Fossil fuel is poison. Leave it in the ground.
We're not a performing group, we're an activist group, right? So we're not really working hard to sing well, we're working hard to get a message across.
Proportional representation. No, we want a vote that is fair.
Well, we try to be old grannies with aprons and these hats. You know, it's a get up.
Yeah, we kind of play up the little old lady stereotype, and sometimes that can be effective because the group doesn't expect you to be powerful.
Canada needs to be more democratic as we watch our neighbor become more erratic.
Young people are really excited. Kids are excited, and people in their teens and 20s are excited. They say, look, the grannies are here, and they feel supported.
Lots of people think that this is a big downer, what we're doing. We're always protesting something. But to me, there is a joy and resistance. To me, I get a joyful out of this. It's unbelievable.
Heather and I don't know if you heard us, but we went ch-ch-ch-ch.
Oh, we heard I think the friendships and the fun we have together are therapeutic in that we can kind of take the stresses and anxieties that we have about where things are heading and create some, sort of funnel some energy in the direction of doing something about it.
There's a lot of anger and a lot of despair, and here we can be supporting people. You go to a rally and there are speeches that are really disturbing, and then we can just lift everybody up.
It's just wonderful to be with a group that is like-minded, and we're supportive of each other.
Work for peace and social justice. Make the world a better place.
You've just seen 5 stories of courage, compassion, and community in action. These aren't just stories from across the country. They reflect the values we live by right here in Orangeville. So I encourage you, get involved, volunteer, support local initiatives, start a conversation. Whether it's helping a neighbor, joining a cause, or simply showing up, your voice matters. Together, we can build a more connected, caring, and resilient community. And it starts with each one of us.